Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good evening, good evening. We are live.
Live and direct.
Live and direct. We're going to bring it to the set.
That's right. Back for Let Your Words Count, episode number 54. We got the full crew here today. Gary Gant, here with Ethan Merriweather, Mike Wilson, and our brother James Cole.
Hey.
All right, how you fellas doing today?
Doing well, brother.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Very good. Anybody got anything new, exciting going on?
I guess life is exciting.
Yes, it is.
Life is exciting. I'm having a great time.
Awesome.
Having a great time. Enjoying the journey. How about you?
Love it. About the same, bro.
Good.
Same. A lot of things going on. Making some announcements on stuff soon, so everything's going well.
Hey, we love announcements. That's always good.
Absolutely.
What about you, Dr. Cole?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wouldn't say anything new or exciting, but I can say this. And this is a plug for what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. In my experiences in dealing with people, I'm seeing more and more clearly how important the usage of words is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I love it.
Yeah. I agree. I think that just creating that sense of being intentional with the way that we speak, and even just I was having a conversation yesterday where we were talking about the phrase "kill two birds with one stone." Mm-hmm. Very super common phrase, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It just speaks to efficiency. Mm-hmm. But it was just an idea that we had, like, obviously that phrase comes from, like primal hunting, maybe a slingshot with a stone trying to, But we talked about, okay, well, we're in 2025. It would break my heart to kill a bird at this point. I mean,
Right.
So we were talking about, like, ways to kind of keep the same statement and have it give the same message, but maybe alter it. Not for any real purpose, but just as an experiment. So we thought about, like, feeding two birds with one slice of bread, or like little stuff like that,
I love it.
Change it up.
Exactly. But that speaks to what you're talking about, just figuring out or being conscious of the way that we use words, even ones that we use kind of flippantly in any other sense.
I love it. I love it.
That's why I like doing what we do here.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
Absolutely. That's good. Good stuff. All right, fellas, we ready to get started?
Oh, yeah, let's do this.
Let's go.
do it. Episode 54 on doubt.
Doubt.
Let's jump to our definition. Doubt is a feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction. It can be directed towards oneself, others, beliefs, or situations. One more time, doubt is a feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction. Doubt is a feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction. It can be directed towards oneself, others, beliefs, or situations. Finally got it out.
That's all right.
All right.
It's important.
Let's jump next to the etymology. Ethan, if you want to grab that one for us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So the etymology from Old French, doute, hopefully I said it right, doute, and Latin dubitare, meaning to hesitate, to waver in opinion. Rooted in dubious, meaning uncertain, the same root that gives us dubious. All right, so that's the etymologies of French, from Old French. All right, if someone wants to do the emotional, I can do that. It doesn't matter.
I was going to do it, but that's a little far for me to see. I don't have my glasses on.
No, don't worry.
Yeah.
I can do it real quick.
I'm going to have to jump over Gary to go look at it.
That's all right. We can knock this out. So doubt, emotional lens, the feeling, once again, positive and negative. That's what we try to tackle. The positive side of it is curiosity, discernment, caution, and critical thinking. That's the emotional lens for the positive side of doubt.
Can you say that one more time?
Curiosity, discernment, caution, critical thinking. And the negative side, which is very interesting to me, which is spot on to me, fear, insecurity, hesitation, loss of confidence. And why? Because doubt disrupts certainty, and humans crave certainty. Yet doubt also invites questioning, and questions often lead to growth. All right? So I think I want to say that one more time. So the why. Doubt disrupts certainty, and humans crave certainty. Yet, doubt also invites questioning, and questions often lead to growth. All right? Does anyone have a thought on that?
I know. First thing out the gate is this is kind of expanding my definition, I guess, of the word. I think I tended to associate it more with the loss of confidence aspect in what you just mentioned. And I see it now as a part of, like, you know, the growing process and just questioning process. But I think that's maybe how it initially struck me, and why I think this is an interesting study, because it's expanding it beyond just loss of confidence and looking at it as an element of curiosity or seeking truth. Not so much loss of confidence, just a desire to know better or to know more fully, I guess. So it's already going to be an interesting conversation for me, because this is kind of expanding what I initially thought of the word as, I guess. So.
Does anybody else want to jump in?
Can you read the definition once again?
All right, sure. So let's put it up for everybody, if our viewers can see it as well. So, doubt is a feeling of uncertainty or a lack of conviction. It can be directed toward oneself, others, beliefs, or situations.
I think the word feeling threw me. Okay. Threw me in the sense of, it's not that I don't think it applies, but I'm very conscious as to when we use words, you know, from what perspective are we using them? And what I mean by that is, when we use the word doubt, my understanding is we're coming from a place where, because we use the word certainty as well. Okay, so the thing that we are certain of is the thing that I think we're saying is just and appropriate. And so then, therefore, doubt takes us away from that. But knowing what the word was, I came up with just different scenarios whereby doubt is actually a wonderful thing. Okay? For example, when we tell our children not to trust strangers, okay? And then the stranger tries to convince the child, come with me, you know, and trying to lay out these reasonings as to why the child should trust, because that's really what's going on. But yet we would prefer that, given the situation that the child finds himself in, because the parent has warned them, they should doubt even trusting words. Okay? So the thing that we doubt, in the case that I'm presenting it now, we should doubt, because what we're really doubting is the motives of the person whose words steer you somewhere else. But yet you would want the child or yourself, if you were in such a situation, to be aware of the situation, and therefore doubt not necessarily the words, but see even beyond the words and look at the situation as a whole.
I like that.
Okay. So that's what came to my mind. A sports analogy even, you know, it's 4th and 7, okay? And of course we're talking about football for those who may not understand, you know.
For the uninitiated.
Right.
And, you know, a play, you know, they may send a play in, okay, we're going to do a quarterback sneak. Okay. Well, then 9 times out of 10, you know, a quarterback sneak isn't going to work in that situation. Unless the game has been played in such a way where you feel like the defense is going to be totally fooled by it. And then if they are going to be totally fooled, then maybe there's a good chance that this might work. But otherwise, when that play comes in, you know, quarterback sneak, I doubt that's going to work. No, we need to do something else, fellas. You know, so I'm not trying to come from it what may seem like a negative perspective.
No, that's good that you're doing it.
But I look at doubt not through and that's the word feeling threw me off. Okay. And because I look at it as something that's more analytical, where you judge the situation that you're in, the information that you're being provided with, and then you make a call as to whether you should direct your actions either in accordance with what's being presented or in opposition to what's being presented.
Interesting. So you're looking at it as there's a chance that you're looking at it from a higher level, like for doubt, because if you bring in a analytical aspect to it, that means that there's a methodology in your understanding of doubt, right?
Yes.
And that's very interesting, because you said that you don't necessarily see it from a negative standpoint, which is nothing to me. I don't have an issue with it, but now that you said that, it makes me understand a further, maybe a wider scope of the word, and that's pretty good, man.
Yeah, I agree. When I first heard the word, you asked me if I had given it quite a bit of thought, and I thought about it a little bit, but not a ton. But I will admit that healthy doubt didn't cross my mind when you sent it over to me. But now hearing you talk about it, obviously there's an entirely different avenue that we can talk about doubt, and hope we get there during this conversation. But what you just mentioned, Brother Cole, just made me think of I read this book called The 48 Laws of Power. It's a really controversial book. I would only recommend it to people who.
Don't insult anybody now.
Yeah, I know. You saw that pause? I had to, wait a minute. I would only recommend it for select audiences.
Okay.
But having read that book, it helps me to understand having that healthy doubt. And not necessarily in a sense of, like you said, doubting a play in a game, but doubting a person's motives or intentions when you run into them in a certain setting. And in this instance, is usually going to be like the workplace or something like that. There is an element of doubt that is healthy because other than that, you become somebody who may be naive or
gullible.
Yeah, exactly. So without a healthy level of doubt. And which could further be translated to maybe discernment, then you wind up being somebody like we said that is gullible. So I agree with you. I think that was a really good way to bring that part out in front because it's easy to talk about doubt in the more traditional sense, and the play where we say, yeah, you're never supposed to doubt. You're supposed to have as much faith as you can, and that type of thing. Which is that part of the conversation has its place. But it is definitely important to be reminded that there are certainly situations where it is prudent and wise to have some doubt.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Thanks, Mike. That was really awesome for the tag on that.
I'm sorry. One thing.
No, go ahead, man.
I brought up the book and didn't even say why I brought that book up. That book, is an exploration of. I gotta get real. Excuse me. That book is an exploration of historical events, historical figures that used less than savory tactics to acquire power all throughout history, all from ancient times up through modern times.
Till now.
Yeah, exactly. And my reason for enjoying the book was because it opens my eyes. I'll give you a little bit of backstory. In 2024, I took my first step into the corporate arena. Before that, I did all blue collar work, even, at different levels, but it was never anything where I had to play the corporate game, so to speak. And so I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And that book was something that helped me to kind of get at least a primer, let's say, for entering that arena and understanding some of the plays that people make to acquire power, some of the ways that people strategize in the workplace. And when I got into that environment, I read that book shortly before I started that. When I got into that environment, I was able to recognize certain traits, characteristics, behaviors, things like that. And having the doubt, having that understanding allowed me to have a little bit of that healthy doubt when somebody would come and shake my hand and smile in my face. And I could see from other behaviors that they were really somebody who didn't mean me well necessarily. So yeah, having that healthy doubt is definitely something to be aware of and to be cognizant of.
So I have I'm glad we're bringing this up because on our TikTok page, I did a blast. I basically did a blast of what we were going to talk about today. And one of the thoughts were,
TikTok page, LYWC channel on TikTok.
Yes. Thanks for the shout out. So one of the things I said, that doubt cannot exist where faith operates, right? But that's not a negative thing. I don't want anybody to look at that as a negative thing. That's actually a fundamental thing. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Because if you look at doubt as a fundamental thing, you have something to build off of. That goes back to what you were saying, at least in my mind, what you're saying about your job, right? So when there's doubt, and if there's a healthy doubt there, that causes you to arm yourself. Well, and this is really good because I don't want to go down this path yet. I think we should exhaust our understanding of it. And plus, unless you have something in your thoughts.
I'm still processing, bro.
You're still processing?
Yep.
Okay. Are you guys still want to talk about that point or whatnot? Because I do have another thought, and I was thinking about when you were talking about this, I thought about the word rebellious. Can doubt have a rebellious aspect in it? That because rebellion is not always negative. It depends on what side you're on, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to look like a rebellion when you're really trying to uphold the truth from your understanding, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the most notable figures in history were considered to be rebels. So yeah, that's absolutely true.
But a lot of times, those that are in charge will hide the fact of the purpose as to why they were rebelling to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to stay on top. We don't have to go there, right? But or come up with any more stories for that. I think that the rebellion causes curiosity. You see what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I think, that the reason why a lot of times rebellion is shunned is because it stifles curiosity. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think that, and I'm trying to put it all together, right? In my mind, that's the reason why doubt is a fundamental thing, right? Because when you have doubt, you should explore curiosity, and sometimes rebellion comes with that. Did that make sense? All right. Anybody else? I'm sorry I had to bring that up. I know.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I think, I mean, what you're saying to me sounds like rebellion against like institution.
Even yourself. Even yourself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like not necessarily, because sometimes, I'm sorry, and keep your thought. Keep your thought. Because what I wanted to say is the rebellion is a structure or a construct that you've received and understood. You know what I'm saying? Like you can even, how many times have I rebelled against my own beliefs systems where I said, I don't think like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like that doubt is healthy because it causes you to challenge a current mindset. Does that make sense? And that's where the fear comes in sometimes, and it gets scary sometimes. But you have to use that as a motivator, doubt, and challenge yourself. Did that make sense? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So like
so the systems.
Like like we talked about before, doubt is something that can invite questions.
Absolutely.
And then those questions will in turn potentially facilitate growth. And so I think that speaks exactly to what you're saying. So, we're talking about, in your case, a belief system, having certain doubts, or let's call them questions, about what you may have believed or whatever we're talking about. I mean, it stands to reason, because without those questions, the world wouldn't evolve. Individuals wouldn't evolve. And then there's definitely potentially an element of doubt in a lot of those questions.
Yes,
I think. So I think you're talking good, Pastor.
No. But I think that I don't want to be the only one talking here, because I think that doubt is, especially when Brother James, when he went down that path of the healthy doubt, I gotta admit, I didn't explore that side, right? You know what I'm saying?
I
I
didn't think
think
about
that
it
that
either,
was a
yeah.
very, very good point. Because when you challenge yourself, the doubt, man, like you said, doubt causes the growth. It causes you not to be stagnant. It doesn't cause comfort. That's kind of what I look at. It's something that we need to really embrace more in some type of way. And I think it goes back to our episode of skepticism when we talked about skepticism, and that's another thing that we kind of grasp the understanding of the healthy side of being a skeptic in some form of fashion, you know. Okay, I'm done.
Well, when we use the word doubt, what we're doing is we're at least calling into question something that is meant to be held as a standard, if you will, or something to be accepted. So then, because of that, you have a standard, something that is to be accepted or is presenting itself as it should be accepted. Okay? And so, with that, the reason doubt may come into play is because whatever information that is being presented to support what the standard is not solid enough, and then therefore, I don't want to say a rational mind, but I'm going to say it anyway. A rational mind may see the holes in it and say, I see your point, but there's something in there that causes me to pause a little bit. You know, I may not disagree with your entire premise, but if we go forward just as you're presenting it, we may have an issue. You know, one of the things I thought about, for example, was when you're constructing things, right? And then the engineer, architect, you know, they present, and we're going to do this bridge this way, and we're going to use this type of material. Everything is going to be fine. And so all the other engineers will look at it and say, yeah, I understand why they're doing this. Oh, are the stresses here? Oh, yeah, that looks good. But I don't know about this over here. Where does the I don't know about this come from? Well, someone has some other information that may be, and I don't want to use the word contrary to, but they may think that it may be better in this situation than what was being presented. Okay, so then therefore, now it opens up for not so much rebellion, but questioning. Okay, in a healthy situation, it's questioning, but in an authoritarian type of a situation, how dare you question what's being put out? Okay, and so then now you may be labeled as a rebel because you don't receive and accept what's being presented
At
wataut
face value.
question.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
face value without
That's
question.
it.
I think. Oh, go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
I think you're on a good path because I mean what you just said made me think of the scientific community. It works very similarly. So like for instance, when a scientist comes across some new discovery in physics, or for example, they may present their findings, but it is the standard way to operate that other scientists will immediately doubt what they've said, put it to the test, and then be able to either confirm or deny. Without that process, science wouldn't advance. You know, if
100%.
if Einstein just came up with the theory of relativity and nobody doubted what he said and everybody took it at face value, I mean, this goes to so many different avenues, but it's the exact same concept. If the community that was surrounding him took it at face value without asking any questions or offering any doubt, then, I mean, the theory happened to be right. But I'm saying, like, let's say he was wrong. Let's say some part of his calculation was inaccurate. Then we would move forward with that understanding, and then, you know, things would not develop. That goes with, like you mentioned, engineering, architecture. It goes with things like religion and faith. It goes with science. It goes with, I mean, it spans the entire gamut of the human experience, that anytime we experience something, it is necessary to test that thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. You know, I was thinking about, I had a conversation with someone today, and he was adamant about challenge. He was like, you can't grow without challenge, you know?
For sure.
And he said there's a reason why the word change is in challenge. And I love that. That hit me, man. I was like, that's awesome.
Wait, say that again.
He said, this is the reason why change you can find change in challenge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You thought it was money?
But no, I'm talking about. I was like,
Spelling the word out.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
like-
yeah, all the letters are there.
yeah, you shuffling around. Okay.
Yeah. When he said that, I love that. I was like, wow. And that's simple, you know what I mean? That's simple, but it means a lot because change is so important to me. Optimization is always important. And I think doubt brings forth that, going back to your thought concerning the science realm or that the practices and different things like that, when you get those minds coming together. I have so many. I'm gonna say this right, and I'm gonna be flat out. I think that sometimes when it comes to religion and whatnot, I'll speak from my standpoint. I think you guys can grasp this. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. But I think that a lot of times, from our traditional standpoint, we haven't embraced other cultures in some type of way, at least from our religion, right? And I think that what we've done is we stunt our growth when we assume that another culture or another belief system cannot allow me to process and grow further. Okay. And the reason why I say that is, there's multiple reasons why I say that, because when I look at Plato, I've talked to a couple of brothers, and they are totally against Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates, which I understand why. But from my standpoint, I really believe God can work through anything and anybody. Okay, and I'm not really trying to make a sermon, on our call, but what it is I think that that's when doubt should come in, when you start hearing why people are choosing not to observe or analyze or be methodical with other writings or teachings or whatnot. You are actually stunning your own growth, because you're not realizing the Creator is actually operating throughout the universe. But we are so focused on a very small group of things where we put limitations on the Creator. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to doubt in my mind, I'm learning to use doubt in that form now. When I hear words, it's causing me to challenge my own belief system and say, let me go ahead and venture out and start to explore other cultures, because more than likely they say the exact same thing that you can grow from them in some type of way. So are we stunning our growth when we don't allow those questionings, like you said, to happen within us?
I have two quick points in response to what you just said.
Yeah.
That don't sound quick to me.
He revving it out. He revving it up.
All right. Okay. First, I agree with you completely. I think that to assume that the wisdom that has been given to mankind is restricted to the 66 books of the Bible, and people who share the exact same set of beliefs that you do is, I'm gonna just say it. I think it's foolish, and I just it is what it is. That's the first thing, and the second thing ties into the brashness of that statement, because I'm not gonna argue about it. That's the second statement. If a person has it in their mind that, to use your specific example, the wisdom of a Socrates is invalid for them to be able to take and learn from, okay, I'm not going to try. My beliefs do not require you to tie into what I believe. I'm not that invested in your belief system enough to, argue you down about it. I'm going to go and learn as much as I can and explore, whatever it is, if it feels like that's something that I should do. And if you happen to disagree, then that's fine. We could still be cool. We don't even have to talk about it, because that's the type of thing where I get more entrenched in what I believe, and then you get more entrenched in what you believe, and the chasm between us tends to expand more as opposed to being able to come together. And so here's my approach. I might learn something from a Socrates and be able to share that with you without putting Socrates' name on it. You know what I mean? I can tell the story of the allegory of the cave in 20 different ways. Well, that's Plato, but I can tell that story. Yeah, I can tell that story in 20 different ways and never use the name of the philosopher that actually wrote the text. You see what I'm saying? I can offer you teachings from Jesus without ever saying Jesus' name. And so the reason why, to me, that's important is because it allows me to be able to connect and be relatable without me having to beat you over the head with this comes from this person or this source. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And to me, that's a wise way to approach those type of differences in what a person might feel or believe. But that's off the subject, but I wanted to say that directly.
No, that's actually that's on the subject, and the reason why it goes back to our feelers here, our why. It goes back to the positive and the negative side. So what we're doing is, if we approach a matter that way, that's where the fear, the insecurity, the hesitation, and all that comes in. So why would someone try to stunt our growth by the exploration thereof, right? You know what I'm saying? Is it because of your doubts? Are your doubts hindering my growth?
No.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. I think that
only if you let them, and if you let them, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, and I think that is I think that's the beauty. Like you said, it's a beautiful word, right? Or I forgot or it's a wonderful word. You said that earlier. And I think that it's because we haven't taken our time to really analyze and figure out how this word, the doubt itself, is causing us to become analytical, like you said, and more methodical in our thinking as far as this is my baseline, but I can visual myself being here using doubt as the catapult to get me to ask the right questions to figure out what's missing. You know what I'm saying? The doubts actually cause the questioning. And that's the scientific realm. That goes back to your thoughts on Einstein, and you talk about Tesla. Just think about how many experiments Tesla went on. How many times that he probably doubted his own, explorations and experiments or whatnot. No, he fought through it. He went through it until he acquired a sense of wisdom and knowledge and understanding after testing so many times. You know what I mean? So
I think that's a perfect segue into getting into talking about self-doubt, which is probably what most people, when they hear the word doubt, kind of dive into.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect way to open that door for us to get to that part of the conversation. I don't particularly want to start it, but I just figured that
just throw it out there.
Yeah, just throwing it out there. Whoever wants to catch that hot potato, y'all can go ahead.
I love it. Well, I can say this for myself. Like, doubt is something that I've dealt with for a very, very long time. And I was just talking to the person earlier about unlocking. I feel locked, but I think that slowly but surely my key is turning. With my understanding. I all those nodes in the key in the key lock. I forgot what they call them, but the pins and whatnot, they are starting to unlatch. Is the door open yet? No, it's not open yet. But I feel the key turning, in my mind, in my thought process, because doubt was preventing that to happen, and that's the reason why I wrote that about where. If doubt is there, faith cannot operate. If it exists in that same plane, not diminishing doubt. I'm not dogging doubt. Doubt is a tool that we use that helps us recognize you keep your place right here. I need to operate over here. You know what I mean? But that's from the self-doubt side that you're talking about. So I'll leave that for now.
I think self-doubt can and should be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's where you need to analyze yourself. I was thinking, because when you go back and look at the word doubts, to me it means you're questioning the validity of something.
Nice.
You're questioning the foundation of something. Okay, testing. I've never thought of testing something as a form of doubt, but in a way, I kind of think that it is. In the area that I work, and it's not my job, but there are people who, for example, automotive industry, when we go to the dealers and we tell the dealers, okay, this is the product, you can order it this way, this way, this way, that way, okay? But what happens is those who put it out there, they have to test their own work. Meaning, kind of like if a thief wants to come in and try to do it a way that I didn't want it to, try this. And so then they test their own setup to make sure there's no way that this vehicle can be ordered in such a way that when it gets to the plant, we have a misbuild.
Gotcha.
Okay? So we call it testing. But to me, as I was sitting here, it's a form of doubt, if you will. You know, it's a challenge to what has been set up as this is the way and there's no problem, okay? Taking that to the personal, I think it's good when an individual tests themselves, okay? So you see, I've taken the word test and I've used the word doubt as well.
I love it.
Because you can use the word doubt in such a way where you tear yourself down, okay? And if people are using it that way, I don't think that is a beneficial doubt. Because my fear, in other words, you may know that you need to take a step and do this, but because you've never done it before, you know, because you've never done it before, you wonder if you might mess up, so to speak. So then therefore the fear of making a mistake may cause me to doubt whether I should do this in the first place. Okay? That's an unhealthy doubt as far as I'm concerned with respect to an individual. But a healthy doubt is the analogy I use where you test it, where you say, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
And in doing this, what could possibly go wrong? You know, am I gullible in this area? You know, am I weak, excuse me, in this area? Because with that, then I say, okay, I need to go forward. So the plan is sound, but I recognize that there are areas where I myself may not have the experience, the background, the tools, and I need to reach out to someone else. So it's not that I'm doubting that I should go forward, but I'm recognizing my shortcomings. Because my shortcomings still need to be addressed. Otherwise, I make the mistake and then I tell myself, you never should have done it in the first place. But in reality, you should have done it, but you just didn't do it the right way.
And that's what I think is important too about
there we go.
How you
wake him up.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But that's why it's important about how you proceed with doubt, because I think doubt is that space where belief, not even belief, where knowledge is growing. Knowledge is being secured. Right? You doubt something just because, you know, doubt is because it arises because of a lack of knowledge. If there's something that you know concretely, there's
Certainty.
no room for doubt. There's certainty, right? So it arises from a lack of knowing explicitly or knowing personally. So even in that example that you gave with the bike, right? I doubted my ability to ride a bike without training wheels the first time I did it, and I fall, right? I fell off the bike, fell over, scraped knees, whatever, but that doubt was until I secured the knowledge that, okay, I know how to do this now. Now I'm not worried about it. So the doubt was valid, but it was also able to be overcome, which is, I think, the important part. It's like it's a matter of my knowledge here today at this point is here, but I'm trying to secure that knowledge. And, you know, doubt, again, kind of taking it out of the negative aspect. I think I kind of came into this conversation with that doubt is I don't have certainty yet, but I'm seeking to get certainty. Right, so it's kind of like an inspiration. It's an influence to make you kind of go and seek something out because you don't know, right? And that's not a bad thing. That's it's humbling. It's a matter of admitting something that we do or don't know, and that we have a desire to know, right?
Very good. Very good. I had this experience working as a fuse. I think I spoke about this before in the past. I think it's for validation, I believe. And this goes along the same conversation of validation. And I was working I was a fuels technician, and so we tested on what we call vehicle bucks. So it's not the full vehicle. It's like a vehicle chopped in half, right? So I would fill these tanks up. I would have all these jobs where I'll fill the tanks up, just like there's a gas station inside our building, and we used to fill these bucks, just like how it would be in the field, right? And I'll never forget that our validation engineer invited three suppliers to come to put their valves on the fuel tank. And I'm not going to call the suppliers. I'll just call it ABC, right? I'll say like supplier A. A was kind of the lower cost valve that he put on. So the engineer said, try this. I want you to try this one. He was so uncertain of his part, right? Like you can tell by looking at his face that he was like, we got to win this business. So he put the valve on. I'm there and I'm just watching. I'm an observer because I had to test the part. I actually had to help him put the valves in, epoxy it, put in, and we get ready to fill the tanks up. As I filled the tank up, fuel spilled all over the floor, and he was
sound effects.
and he was like, you could see how like embarrassed he looked because of his uncertainty, and that's another word. When you're uncertain, there's embarrassment that can come, right? So he was like, well, I know I'm not getting that valve right. So he tried to do a couple of things, and he put the valve back in. The same thing happened. He was like, no, this is not going to work. The second supplier B, came in, and she put the valve in, and it filled, no spilling, but it stopped, right? Like click. When the first click, actually, there's a percentage of where your gas tank is supposed to click at. You know, it was too low. So he's like, that's unacceptable, you know what I mean? Because the rate have to be 18 gallons in this tank. Yours only got to like 16 and a half, right? And she tried to do a couple of things and it still didn't work. But I remember this guy, his name is Matt. He actually started working with us, man. He worked at supplier C. He was watching the whole time, just like this. And he said, with these words, I don't know why I'm here. He filled that tank up. Bam, 18 gallons, 3 clicks, bam, bam. He was like, I knew it was going to work. It was just the confidence that he had. It was no doubt was there about this product. And the validation engineer was like, what can I say? You know what I'm saying? And I said, I took 5 minutes.
That's all right.
We're going to go ahead and wrap up after this.
I took 5
Bring
minutes.
it home now. Bring it home.
Right.
It's that doubt, it ebbs and flows. And you can see it in people's lives, right? Where someone is lacking confidence, and you can see someone with assurance of that confidence. You know what I'm saying? Where doubt don't even exist. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to bring that up. That's where we all need to operate. You know, we need to get to that point, you know, but doubt is healthy. It goes back to what we were saying the other day about belief. Like, belief is fleeting, but belief is necessary to get to the next step. There's a starting point, because once you overcome or overrule a certain uncertainty, you're still going to the next level. And the next level is still going to bring down uncertainty. Right. Yeah, go ahead. I'm done.
Yeah, there's value in failure.
Yes.
Absolutely. 100%.
And we have to be able to accept that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay? Because unfortunately, we often allow our pride to come in. Because as you were describing those situations, the first two, there was most likely I expect it to fail, but fingers crossed, I hope it doesn't. And then if it didn't fail in this, then they think, okay, they probably still would have had doubt. So then if you would have purchased, the manufacturer would have purchased that valve, they still probably would have wondered, fingers crossed, I hope now, in the real world, this doesn't. And so
Yes.
there's that's why I was saying there is value in failure when you're mature enough to recognize it. But it's because you understand that the goal is valid and it's just. And if you don't measure up to it at this particular point, that's okay. Just don't stay there.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Recognize and then better yourself so that you can achieve the target.
Nice. I love it.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's what I love about that validation aspect of it too. Like the mindset in validation is trust but verify. Because when you're looking at in the scientific realm, like we talked about, and I love how we kind of talked about both science and then like religion, because I spent a lot of my life having gone through training in both, right? And studying engineering and then as a minister. And I, for the longest time, thought I had to keep my religious mindset and scientific mindset separate before I realized that there really is a lot more overlap than what I acknowledged at first, and that the principles can apply to both. But the difference is, when we're looking at science, and it's that trust but verify, and you brought up like how does the scientist, how does science in general, the science community, accept a proposal or a hypothesis? A scientist writes up, this is how I did this experiment, this is what I used, these are my steps, whatever else, and you submit that for peer review. So when that paper goes out, other scientists worldwide pick up that paper and say, okay, let us test this theory to see if it's right. Everybody comes in with a need to test.
Yes.
Because this is a new concept. Nobody knows for sure. This scientist claimed this, but it's not even a matter of we don't trust him. It's, science is established by repeatable processes and repeatable results. So it's not even an ego thing. It's not a matter of he's not a good scientist. It's just belief doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The data is what matters. Being able to recreate that situation, and again having that knowledge where it's no longer about it's not a guessing game. It's not this might be, this maybe is going to work. This is I tested it myself. I know this theory is sound because I recreated his methods and his steps, and I got the same outcome he did. So there's no doubt, there's no ambiguity. So that's in the science world.
Here we go.
Yep. Yep. Because
Hold your nose.
Because seriously, like even like what you were saying earlier about, are we going to think that all of the worthwhile knowledge in the entire world is contained in one book, and is God that limits it? And the threat people feel from saying that this people I'm watching over that I associate with, I have to tell them they can't get knowledge from anywhere outside of this one book. Is that same possibility there for them to explore and get experience firsthand and come to know something and get beyond that I just believe because somebody else believed or told me to, right? If we were to put that same diligence that we apply to the scientific method in the religious space, where would that leave us?
I would say we're supposed to.
Absolutely right.
I agree.
That's the point.
I would say God wants us to trust but verify, without a doubt.
Doesn't that feel like that's putting us in a... I fully agree with you. And I think that's worth exploring because that's not how we're taught.
It is not how we're taught. We are taught that the standard is to be without question.
Yes. Yep.
But those that teach that don't understand. We're getting into a whole different area now.
I mean, woo.
They don't understand that we are approaching that which we say is perfect from our imperfection. So therefore, when we are told that you are able to accomplish this, you look at your present self and say, there's no way. There's no way. With man, it's impossible, but with God, all things are possible.
There you go.
Very good.
People say, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And they use as their proof for it and not believing it. Nobody else is doing it. Since nobody else is doing it, I conclude that it cannot be done. And so then your doubt seems to be justified.
Right.
And so in doing so, now you've poked holes in the one that says, try me and see when I open up the windows and pour out windows of heaven, pour out a blessing you won't be able to receive. Try me. But see, we try him on our limited understanding. And that's why what we said earlier about recognizing that we need something in order to be able to accomplish our personal goal. So failure is not a problem when we realize what we need and then go after it. Now, we can go to Scripture and talk about that same thing. You know,
Agreed.
if we have lack of anything, what are you supposed to do? Ask. Ask the one who can give liberally.
That's right.
So then now you take it, you apply it, and then now you start to see, oh, okay, this thing is possible.
That's right.
God wants us to trust, but verify. Try him. That's why you talk. Oh, we getting it. That's why we start to talk about.
He's going to start hacking.
You know, that's why it talks about the testimonies of God are sure and amen. Well, I hadn't experienced that before, but the word says it's sure and amen. To your point, what we've been taught is don't think about it, don't question it, just believe it. But I have doubts. But I have doubts. You think God is mad at us for having the doubt?
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
Right.
No. He is not mad at us for having the doubt.
Thank you.
But he wants us to look into it. Okay. There's a doubt there. Try me. Because if our heart,
I love it.
well, if our heart desires,
Y'all ain't hearing me. I wish I was in the right church.
holler back at me now.
Right. Touch your neighbor and say, doubt. Trust. What's verified?
I love it.
But yeah, because that is part of, we mentioned growth earlier. That's part of the growth process.
Yeah.
And so how dare we challenge individuals and tell them you're not supposed to doubt. Just accept it as is. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
That's right. That's right.
Agreed.
I believe it.
Totally agree with that.
Yep.
I was thinking about another thought that hit my head while we were doing this was who gives us the authorization to doubt? You know, that was a thought, you know, and I think that I really believe that
We have the God-given ability to doubt. I'll go that far and say that.
I agree.
We have the God-given ability to doubt.
Yeah.
It's a part of our makeup.
It is. Examine yourselves, whether you be in the faith. Take a look at where you are, weigh it out, and determine whether you're where you need to be. Or do you need to go get some other tool that's necessary for you to achieve the task? You're supposed to.
In fact, if you're not doing it that way, then you're doing it wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because with that, you get people that trust without understanding.
So dangerous.
It is. Because they can say the right words, but they don't understand why the right words are the right words. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. And so you can say the right words, but doubt the validity of the words because you really have no personal experiences
That's the key.
to match up with it.
That's
Yeah.
the key.
You just have the assurance that you're saying what your pastor has been saying.
Gary
You
calls
have
it
the
a parrot.
assurance. What's that?
Gary calls it being a parrot.
A parrot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Repeating.
And that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're saying what you're supposed to say, and there's supposed to be comfort and safety and security in the fact that you're saying what you're supposed to
You
say.
get that reassurance because everybody cheers you on and says the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But then when you step outside because you see something that others don't see, and then you're challenged because of it, now we're drifting into a whole another area here. I'm trying to bring it back to the faith, to the doubt part.
I respect you for wrangling it. You try your best. Fight for his life, trying to bring this thing back.
It's healthy to say, wait a minute, we've been saying this all of our lives, but I look at it and say, wait a minute, this don't make sense. That can't be this way. But everybody else accepts it. Now you're at a crossroad. Are you willing to step outside and pursue what you know is out there versus saying, I'm good because everyone else is here? And that's why we can walk the road alone, but it's necessary. And our doubts can take us on that road. Our doubt in this case, that what we've been hearing all of our lives without challenge needs to be challenged.
So in that approach, doubt becomes a necessary part of the journey.
Yes, because the doubt is there, because the foundation that we thought was sure is not as sure as we thought it was.
Or not experienced.
And it's a blessing to see it. And I would even say God is the one that can tap us on the shoulder, so to speak, and say,
Absolutely.
hey.
That's where that comes from.
And that's why group think is so dangerous.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just getting ready to say.
Well, I'll act like I didn't say it. Go ahead.
No worries. I was just getting ready to say, if we keep in mind that throughout history, the masses tend to be the ones that are incorrect, in hindsight, it makes things a little more clear, and it makes it a little more bearable to be that, like you said, walking that road alone. I mean, even if we review the scripture again, it says that broad is the path that leads to destruction, but narrow is the way that leads to what is it, salvation?
Right.
Yeah. But it's literally says that only a few people are going to be able to access the path that is really going to lead where we're trying to get to. And when you see things that are inflated in terms of numbers and population and things like that, to me, it screams as a red flag to me. You know what I mean? Because all it takes is 5 minutes of studying any portion of history to realize that the masses are usually heading in the wrong direction.
True.
I was thinking about like the self-doubt that we were talking about, and one of the practices so for the past, let's say 2 to 3 months, maybe even a little bit more, my personal journey has been about establishing and acting in trust, understanding how to really operate in faith, to take steps, to take leaps of faith that feel really uncomfortable, even though I know that they're the right move. With that comes an extreme level of discomfort. Taking steps and making moves, making decisions that go against what I'm comfortable with, what I already have certainty about. It's a hard thing to do. One of the practices that I've kind of adopted is first understanding that particular doubt is based in fear, at least for me. That's my interpretation of it, because in my mind, I'm afraid of maybe some particular outcome, failure or disappointment or heartbreak or, any number of things to be afraid of when you step outside of your comfort zone. One of the things that I've started to do in my journaling is ask the two questions. What am I afraid of? And also, what is the worst that could happen? What do I have to lose? What's the absolute worst case scenario if I make this particular move? And as long as it's not I'm dead or somebody else around me is dead, then it becomes something that increasingly becomes a little bit more bearable. So I go, what's the worst that could happen if I, do this particular thing? I don't know. Maybe I'll be very disappointed with the outcome. Could be. Okay, well, if that happens, what would be my next move? Am I still going to have the opportunity to make another move? Things like that. And when you start to break down things, I've heard somebody say it like this. They called it breaking it down to the ridiculous. You ever heard that phrase before?
I haven't heard that, but I like
it's a phrase that means taking something that seems really large and breaking it down into its absolute finest and small bits that you can, breaking it down to the ridiculous. To the point where when you get to that level, it's ridiculous that you're afraid of it. It's ridiculous that it's bothered you. You know what I mean?
Got you.
So, like, for instance, like I said, okay, I could start with the biggest thing, the worst case. I could be really, really disappointed and it could hurt my feelings. It could set me back a few months or a year or whatever. It can knock me off my path for a little while. But after that, what comes next? Okay, I can make another decision to get back on the right path. I can explore how it disappointed me and be able to avoid or at least manage that feeling. And then the next step can be, I don't know, maybe I'll take another step or whatever. But anyway, as you progress through those things intentionally with opening your mind and allowing yourself to be honest about what it is that your real concern is, because it's never something that is going to be, so devastating that you can't recover. As long as you're alive, you can still recover from whatever we're talking about if you do it intentionally. Anyway, I'm taking a lot of time, but what I'm basically trying to get to is that self-doubt is unavoidable when we are moving in the right direction. Like you mentioned before, every level in life brings more uncertainty because I've never been here before. I've never experienced this before. I have no idea how things are going to look from point A to point B on just this particular level, let alone all of the other stuff that I got going on and am dealing with and the next thing and things like that. But it's inevitable. And to me, it makes sense for us to find a way to address it and to navigate that as effectively and efficiently as possible. And so my way of dealing with it lately has been to just literally break it down to its finest points. And by the time I'm done, I'm like, I'm doing this tomorrow. It's no big deal. It's not that big of a deal. And it allows me to have the courage and bravery to move forward. And even though doubt still exists, I'm able to look at it for what it is. It's a fear of something that doesn't exist yet. That disappointment doesn't exist until I get to that point. You see what I'm saying? And so I listened to a teacher, and I've said this to you guys before. I'm going to say this point and I'll be quiet. But I listened to a teacher a while back that said that a human's greatest faculties are his or her imagination and their memory. Memory thinks about the things that have come before, and imagination imagines what could be going forward. Those things can be our greatest asset, or they can be something that break us down to the point where we're afraid to make any moves. Because if I'm afraid of heartbreak in the future, if I'm afraid of disappointment in the future, if I'm afraid of making a wrong move and losing something or whatever, that reality doesn't exist until I get to that point. And so if I'm afraid of it at this point, then I'm simply using my imagination to screw myself up, or I could be thinking about something that happened in the past. I could be thinking about a past disappointment or things like that. So I can use those faculties to either remember times when my faith has brought me over and I was able to conquer that doubt and find success or victory. Or I can look back and think about all of the people or the times where I've been disappointed and things like that. I have that choice to remember one of those things. And then we can switch over to the scripture that says to think on the things that are lovely, that are pure, that are of a good report. Those are the things that we should be focusing our time and attention and energy on. And that'll allow us to have the bravery, the courage that it takes to overcome doubt. All right, I'm done.
Love it.
That's good, man.
Love it. I love it. I think further along those lines too, because it's an area I've been dealing with myself as well, and I think the method that I've been looking at more recently, I don't know if I want to call it a method necessarily, but just kind of reviewing. If we, like you said, with your imagination, are thinking forward to an event, and we're projecting or predicting some kind of disappointment or failure or whatever. And it's like you said, that only exists in your head. It's not a reality yet. That time hasn't come yet. This is just a matter of what you do or do not believe. And you thinking that the outcome of, you thinking that your belief is going to determine the outcome of said event. So I think one way I've been trying to approach that too is if my belief is negative or limiting me in some way, to kind of break down that thing, remembering past events where maybe I believe something to be true and found out later that it wasn't. So because we can kind of play things up in our minds so much that we think that our belief is defining what reality is going to be, I've been kind of using that as your beliefs haven't always been correct. So don't let your beliefs limit you to some future event before you've done it, you've tried it, you put your hand to the plow or whatever. If your belief is limiting you or is telling you it's going to be some negative outcome, your beliefs haven't always been correct. It hasn't always defined reality. So allow it to allow yourself to kind of look for and expect the best possible outcome, because normally that's when it's something that I want to overcome is if my belief is that something's going to turn out negatively or not in my favor. Right. So just by not looking at that as, your belief is not determining the future, all the time, there's something to be said for what your mindset is going to result in at the end.
Yeah.
But when it is a matter of only your belief empowering some future state, then I would want my belief to go in the state that's desirable.
Yeah.
And
You
if I
move
believe
differently when
exactly,
you believe in a more positive way.
Yep, exactly right. Yep. So that's if I'm gonna be putting my belief in one path or whatever, it's gonna be towards the one that I have the best outcome, and not believing that just because I think something's gonna go bad that it's going to. I haven't been right with that all the time, right?
Yeah.
So
that reflects specifically, like almost identically, what Ethan was talking about when the guy came to present his product. He went in there with a defeated mindset already. He said he was trembling or whatever it was. You could tell that he was doubting.
Yep.
If he had gone in with a different mindset, I mean, obviously the product was bad. If the product is bad, the product is bad. But the approach is you move differently when you're taking action if you believe that the actions that you're taking have a good possibility of being successful.
yes, you do.
Correct.
You know what I
Totally
mean?
agree.
Much
with
better
that.
said than what I did. Thank you. I was over here bumbling. Thank you. That's what I was-
you
that's
good,
what I
bro.
was going for.
Yeah.
I love what Mike was talking about earlier as well about breaking it down to smaller pieces, and I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know that there was an African proverb, but I think I'm gonna go to scripture with this one, where it says that the invisible things from the foundation of the world are being understood by the things which are made. And when I take that, when I look at that verse as, if you look at God's creation from a very, very microscopic, a quantum level, just because our eyes can't see it, it doesn't mean that there's an operation at play. And that's kind of goes back to what you're saying about doubt. I think that what we can do is, I think it's mechanics behind this thing. I think it's a mechanic behind even the spiritual realm. I think that there's mechanics in the mental realm. I think there's mechanics going back to what G was talking about, as far as that there's a blending of the Bible or scripture or the things of God and science, because science is of God anyway. What we've done is we do a good job of separating. You know what I'm saying? When you can actually be benefited by both once properly reconciled together, because it actually represents God to his to the full extent.
Tells a complete story.
Yeah, exactly. But what we do is we put limitations based off of our understandings and assumptions, and we just remove God out of the whole equation, or remove science out of the whole equation. Well, no, actually there's a marriage between the two. And I think that we don't grasp the mechanics behind that. That's why you don't see the blessings in some type of way. I'm gonna just use that word as the fulfillment of things. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I say, like, I like that you were able to break it down to the smallest things and say, hey, I can work with that right there. You know what I'm saying? It's not so big. It's not as big as I thought it was going to be. And I think that sometimes we project our goals too big. No, break those goals down into little small morsels. You can't eat the whole cow. You can't eat the whole pig. You one slice or one piece at a time. And I think that that's how we should manage doubt, and just say, hey, I know you're there. I know you're there, but I'm going to use you as a growing tool, not as an unhealthy tool. You know what I'm saying? You are not going to have control over my thoughts to cause me stagnation.
So I think what we've borne out here is there is a mature doubt and an immature doubt.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm hearing. And with immature doubt, that's where fear can come in. And that fear can cause you not to go forward. But then there is a mature doubt that can propel you to achieve.
Very good. Very good.
I like that.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when you're willing to address it and seek to understand where the doubt is coming from. Because doubt has a source,
Yeah. Mechanics.
Yeah, exactly. At least the version of doubt that we're talking about, it has a source. And, that source is usually, in my experience, afraid of something, being fearful of some outcome, potential outcome. Yeah. And I agree. Using that to figure out how to propel yourself, using that. Figuring out how to understand it and understand that source makes the path, in my mind, lit to be able to walk from where you currently stand with the doubt, with the fear, with the concern, to the destination that is taking the action or just having faith in general.
Right, because if the end goal is just and valid, then you determine how you're going to get there, and you don't allow yourself to fall away from it. And you understand while you're on that path, you may hit a brick wall, so to speak, but you know that there's a path around it because you know you must get to the end goal. And so that's where determination comes in, and fortitude comes in,
Fortitude,
and all of those things that go with making sure that I tell people this in even marriage, for example. When you have problems in marriage, if you can both see yourself after coming through it, where you're still together as one. So then you've set that as the end goal. So then now whatever you're going through, in the end, you're both going to be together as one. And so we can take any of our challenges that we deal with, and when doubt comes in, what about this? What can go wrong? Well, okay, things can go wrong. How do we handle it? So that's where maturity comes in, because we know that we must achieve the end goal. But that's why we have to make sure that the end goal is valid and just to begin with.
It takes me back to what we talked about a few episodes ago on hope as well.
Okay.
Right? That hope is, that there's an aspect of it that basically says even if the outcome isn't favorable, it was worth pursuing.
Okay.
Very good.
Right.
Okay.
That is, I might fall on my face, I might fail, but it's worth the effort to try, even if things are not looking favorable for me. And I think it's that same thing. You got to find some things in life where it's worth pursuing, even if you fail. That the determination to go on until you find yourself successful is worth it.
That's
like
awesome.
you mentioned, there's value even in failure if that goal is not hit right away. You learn the lesson about what mistake you may have made or what avenue you could have taken around that brick wall.
Right.
Maybe instead of trying to go around to the right, maybe you go over, or maybe you dig under. But you learn each time.
Absolutely.
And that speaks to maturity, like you mentioned as well, because some people will hit that brick wall or make that turn and then give up. But yeah,
That's so
that
true.
definitely does relate directly back to hope.
Yeah, and G has this saying in one of his songs that says that in the process there's two outcomes that's going to happen. You're either going to succeed or you're going to learn. I love that because failure is not a part of the process. You know what I'm saying? In that regard, you're gonna learn from your failure. What do you learn? You learn, right? That is a process of succeeding too. You know what I mean? And I love that, man. It's small, but those are the things that cause us a pursuit. It causes us not to falter and faint when you've established a goal in your mind, man. I'm done. I think I've said enough on this one. Anybody else? I think this was a good one. Really, 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 really good.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Any last words? You all set?
I'm good.
Yeah,
All
I am
right.
too.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, I guess. The word obviously has been doubt.
Yep.
We talked a little bit about maturity. We talked about how doubt can be healthy in certain instances, things like the workplace. And if you're teaching your kids to doubt that strangers only want to give them candy when they get in the van, that's a good one.
Absolutely.
And then we talked about some of the practices. We talked about analyzing doubt, analyzing its source, understanding where doubt comes from. It's important to be able to do that because without it, doubt will inevitably be in control of us, and it'll keep us stagnated. And so it's really important to find a practice that will allow you to overcome that doubt. But anyway, we are Let Your Words Count. My name is Mike. I'm here with my guy, Elder Cole, my boy Ethan, my bro G. And
Hey, I get a first name too, don't I?
I'm sorry, James.
All right,
My guy
thank
James.
you.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm on first name basis. Let's go. Okay, here we go. I love it.
Nice.
Okay, we got my guy James.
All right.
Ethan and G. My name is Mike. Please remember to like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you found this useful, please feel free to reach out to us in the comments. We would love to hear your feedback. If you have anything that we may have missed, if any thoughts that maybe you didn't agree with, or things that you would like to give us encouragement with, we definitely would welcome that. Don't forget to like and follow us on all social media at LYWC channel on TikTok, Instagram. Is it a Facebook?
Yep,
Facebook, YouTube. We're working on maybe some other platforms. Keep an eye out for a new collection for winter and maybe spring for the clothing line. Check out DMF Music on Spotify and YouTube. Anything else? Did I miss anything else?
Website coming soon.
The website coming soon, baby. I don't know what's gonna be on there, but I like the sound of it.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. We're looking forward to it. Anyway, for all of us here at LYWC, thank you. We love y'all. Peace.
God bless you.